So in this part of the video, we will finalize our room scene by adding our floor, our walls and our shelves, and we are also going to add our lighting to light up the scene. We will also add our textures or materials to our 3D models. We'll look at how to use the shading tab and the material nodes in Blender to apply our basic and very simple materials to our models to complete our scene. Okay, so don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit the like button for more interesting Blender stuff and to help the channel grow. Okay, let's jump into the tutorial.
Okay, so we are going to model the room scene. So in order to model the room scene, let's go to let's enable our screencast key so we can see what I'm pressing on the keys. You can see on the left side we have our keys that I'm pressing over here. Okay, so let's start with the floor. So press Shift A, then go to Mesh and then bring in the plane. Okay, let's tap into edit mode and then hold down the Shift and press Z to go to the wireframe mode. Or you can come here and click on the wireframe to get this view. So press S and scale. Let's scale our plane to this point and then let's scale it on the X axis. I'm pressing S and X to this point. You can see it's an enclosed area, so we shouldn't get too much space going out. You can press 2, go to the edge select mode and select this edge, then drag it by pressing the G and Y and move it on the Y axis. Okay, you can hold down your control to snap the bricks. Okay. Now let's bring in our walls. Let's select these 3 edges around our plane, then press E. Before we extrude, let's go press numpad 3 to go to the side view. Then you can see it's not on the ground plane, so let's move it to the ground plane first. Press G and then Z, move it on the Z axis and place it on the green line. Okay, so we now have it on our ground plane. Let's press E and Z to extrude it on the Z axis and pull it up to this point. Okay, so we now have our walls and our floor. So let's create this frame around the floor. So let's go to the edge select group and then select these 3 button edges and then press Shift D to duplicate and then right click to leave our duplicate where we have it and then press E to extrude and Z or Z to move it on the Z axis. Press Edit. Okay, let's scale it to accept and then while we have our edges selected, let's hold down the Control key and then press the numpad plus to select more or to select our faces. Now hold down the Alt key and then press E to bring this extrude dialog. Then let's extrude faces along normals. Now hold down your Shift key and then drag your mouse on the Z axis to extrude it a bit. Then let's click to accept. Okay, now let's zoom in to the front edges. Hold down the Alt key and then click on this edge in order to select our edge loop. Then we can scale in our edge a bit just to give it a bit of slant. Okay, and let's click to accept. Okay, so we now have our frame. So we can press Ctrl V to undo. Let's scale it a bit. Looks like our scaling is a bit of super scaling. So let's change our pivot point. Let's press the period key and you can have this pivot point and let's change it to the medium point. So when we scale, we have it accurately scaled towards the middle. Okay. So now let's add our window frame on the left side by selecting, go to the face select mode and then select this face over here, and then press Shift D to duplicate, and then press X to move it on the X axis and move it a bit forward. Okay, and let's press P, then selection to separate our mesh. Let's tap out of the edit mode and then select our duplicated face, and then go back to our edit mode. Okay, so let's change it to the edge select mode and then select our button edge over here. And then press double G to move it up. You can hold down the Shift to continue. Let's move it up a bit onto this edge. Make sure it's just above our frames. Okay, and then select our face, move it back a bit, just a little bit. Okay, then E to extrude, then extrude it forward a bit. So we have our thickness. Okay, so after I extrude, we can press I to insert, set it a bit. Okay, and let's click to assets. Let's press Ctrl R and add an edge loop in the middle of our face in order to create these demarcations we have here. Ctrl R and then add another edge loop and move it up a bit. Then click to assets. So let's just straighten the corners over here. So while we have our edge loop selected, just press S and then Z, and to scale it on the Z axis, and then press 0 to flatten it, and let's click to assets. Okay, so let's hold down the Shift, then the Alt key, and click on this edge to select the edge loop. Okay, press Ctrl B to bevel it a bit, and then scroll up your mouse once and add another edge loops in the middle. Then let's click. So hold down the Control button and then numpad minus. So numpad minus will reduce the selection, and then Control, then numpad plus increase our selection. So as you can see, so holding down the Control and then numpad minus. Okay. So after we selected everything, we can come down. Let's just come here, hold down the Alt key, and then select this, and then hold down the Shift and Alt key and select this edge. Then Ctrl B to bevel. Let's bevel it a bit. Okay, just a little bit like this, and then press X to delete and select faces. So we delete those faces in the middle, so we have our separate meshes. So when we hover on this edge and then press L key on our keyboard, you can see you can select the link, select link, so to select everything connected to that edge. So let's select all our 4 faces and then press E to extrude it a little bit for okay. And we have our thickness. Okay, we shouldn't extrude this further. Okay, it's a mistake. So what we have to do here is we just select these faces, go to the face select mode and then select our faces in the middle, and then extrude and then move it inwards a bit in order to create our windows. And then you can tab out of the edit mode, and then let's add our bevel modifier. Go to modify, then add the bevel modifier, and then increase the segments to 3. Now go to the amount, hold down your left mouse button, then the Shift key, then drag it back a bit, and then you can see that it's softening our edges a bit. Okay, so It's okay now. So we now have our windows on the side. Let's add these frames, these shelves, and these picture frames over here. Okay, so press numpad 1 to go to the front view, then shift A and add the cube. Okay, so let's go to the wireframe and then let's drag our cube, the Z axis, press G and Z, then go to the, let's drag it up a bit. Okay, and then let's tab into edit mode, then scale down our cube on the Z axis, so press S and then Z, then scale on the Z axis. Okay, so the thickness is okay. So this is the thickness of our upper shelf. Then scale on the X axis to the end of our walls, or almost getting to the end. Okay. And let's press numpad 7 to go to the top view. And then we can move our shelf the Y axis. Okay. So you can see now have our shelf. And let's move it a bit into the wall, the Y axis. Okay, so now we have our top shelf. So let's add a bevel modifier to our shelf in order to smoothen these edges. So come to the modifier tab again, add your bevel modifier. And let's increase the segments to 3. Then let's reduce the amount a bit. Hold down and shift and drag it out. Okay. So we now have this bevel. So we now create these two other shelves, these two smaller shelves. So in order to create these two smaller shelves, let's just duplicate this shelf, then shift D, then move it on the Z axis. So you can hold down the control and snap it down, then go to the edit mode, then let's change to our vertex select mode, and then come to our wireframe mode and then select these edges, then grab it the X axis, then move it forward. Okay, let's move it to the X axis. Okay, so we now have our shelf here. Then with this shelf selected, let's press Shift D, then on the Z axis, hold down the control and move it down. So we now have our two shelves created. Okay, so the next thing I want to create is these image frames, these photo frames we have here. So let's bring in a cube. Let's shift D, and then bring in a cube. So let's move this cube onto our shelf right here. Then tap into the edit mode. Then scale it up a bit. Okay. Let's make sure that the button is touching the top edge of our shelf. So you can now press numpad 7 and go to the top view. Then press X and scale it on the Y axis to reduce the thickness of our photo frame. Okay, so now have this thickness. Let's press G and move it into on the Y axis. Okay, and then press the numpad 3 to go to the side view, and then go to the wireframe mode. Then you can reduce the size, the thickness a bit. Let's just scale a bit on the Y axis. Reduce the thickness a bit. Okay, so the thickness is okay. Now let's rotate our frame a bit and make sure that this vertex is touching the walls, so it's not sitting straight in our head. It's impossible. Okay, so we now have our photo frame back. We have to create the frames itself. So let's go to the face select mode, and then select this face, then press I to insert, then E to extrude. Okay, just like that. So we now have our photo frame. Okay, so now let's add a bevel modifier to our frame. Let's tap out of the edit mode and then add modifier. Then add the bevel modifier. Okay, so increase the segment to 3 and then reduce the amount. Okay, we can duplicate our picture frame, shift D and X, move it on the X axis. Okay, so we have our picture frame set. Now let's take these settings over here. So let's select our walls and then tap into edit mode. Then select this face, shift D to duplicate, and then move it on the X axis. Let's press P and separate it from our walls. Let's tap out of the edit mode. Then with this face, let's add an edge loop. Control R to add edge loop, and then type in the number 10 to add 10 edge loop. So if you press Control R to add edge loop, any number you are going to type, you're going to add that number of edge loops to the face. So let's cancel, and then Control R, then enter 10, and then right click to cancel the operation and leave your edge loop. So let's press Ctrl D to bevel. So you have to bevel with one edge loops in between. So let's bevel and then left click to accept. Then hold down the Ctrl key and the numpad minus to narrow the selection to only the middle edges. Then press G and X to move it in the X axis. And then let's bevel it once more. Ctrl D to smoothen out our selection. Okay, now let's go into the object. Okay, we have to move the button edges up a bit. So let's select the button edge. Hold down the Alt key and select the button edge. Then press double G and then move it up a bit. Okay. So let's right click on any empty space and shade smooth. And we can add a subdivision modifier in order to smoothen our curtains. So let's turn subdivision surface and then increase it to 2 and then simple. Okay. So we now have our setting complete. So we can add other props to it if you want to add more details to our setting. And basically we have our office setting complete. So now we are going to move on to the texture. So in the next video we are going to look at how we are going to texture our 3D space, our 3D office in order to get nice environment.
Okay, so in this part we are going to be texturing our scene, our model. So before we do that, let's set up a bit of things before. Let's go to the edit mode, select this edge and then press F to fill the top to give us the ceiling. Then tap back into your object mode. Then let's select the camera, and you can see numpad 0 will take you to the camera view or out. And then let's set our camera view. So let's press numpad to go to front view, and then hold down the Control and Alt and then press the numpad 0. So you are going to set your camera according to your view. Okay, so let's come to the scene and then let's change the screen resolution to 1920 by 1920, the screen format. Okay, so as you can see, we will get a square resolution and it will closely match our reference. So let's select the chair and then press N and then go to view, then check camera to view option. So this will allow you, if you select the chair and then press numpad period key, to allow you to set your camera from the camera view. Okay, so you can now select the camera and then grab and then press G to move up in the Z axis, and we are going to set our camera enable to capture a wide view. Okay, let's make sure I'm not showing the outside view. Let's adjust it a bit. Okay, so seems like you are good to go. Just a bit of adjustment and then we can press Ctrl S, always remember, and then go back, press N and then uncheck in order to capture your view, not to lose the view that we've captured over here. Okay, now let's start shading. So let's go to the shading tab, and then as we have it here, you can change to a solid mode, and then you can divide the bottom part into two. So let's divide, and then let's change it to the 3D viewport. Let's change it to the 3D viewport, and then press the numpad 0 to go to your camera view, then uncheck the outlines and the gizmos. So this will allow us to see our objects while we are rendering. Let's change it to rendered mode. So as you can see, you're in the EV, so let's change it to cycles. Okay, so this is our cycles, and we are going to do the texturing in cycles. You can see the light over there, so let's select the light and then press X to delete. Okay, so now we have our dark room, and we are going to add the light. We have to light up our room first, and then let's move on to the texturing. But before that, let's press Ctrl B and then select the whole camera just to capture, just to render only what we see in the camera. Okay, no problem. Okay, so now let's light up the scene. In order to light the scene, we have to put in the main light, which is the ceiling light. So to do this, let's tab into the edit mode and then select the face, change this to face mode, and select the top face, then press Shift S and then cursor to select it. And then while our cursor is put over there, let's press Shift A and then go to light and bring in the area light. Okay, so the area light will help us light up our scene evenly. Okay, so let's scale it up a bit. Okay, and then we can increase the strength by going to the lights, the object properties, and then we are going to change the strength. We're going to change the strength to 1500 watts. Okay, so as you can see here, our room is lit, but it's too bright, but you don't have to worry because we are going to add textures and we're going to match it with the colors. Okay, so we have our light set, our main light. So the next thing we'll do is we are going to texture our walls. So for the wall texture, I'm going to give it a very simple material. I'm going to add simple materials over here. Okay, so let's go to the material tab and then click new. Then we can rename it to walls or any other name suitable. Okay, so let's come to the shader mode and then click on the base color. Okay, so for the wall, we are going to change the hue to 0.059, and then the saturation to 0.231. okay, and then the value to 0.338. okay, so it's going to give us this dark color, semi-dark color, brownish dark, and let's change the roughness to 0.4. okay, so now we have the basic texture for our walls. Now just remember to save your works, Ctrl S, don't forget. Okay, so now let's come to the chair and then let's add a material to the chair and rename our material. And then for the chair, we are going to add a simple texture for the chair. So let's go to the base color, leave the hue at 0, saturation at 0, and then change the value to 0. Let's change the value. Okay, so we are going to change the value to 0 to 1. okay, so it's going to be fully white. So that's the color that we are giving our chair. And then let's change the roughness to 0.2. okay, so that's the basic color that we are giving our chair. Okay, let's change the roughness to, okay, let's take it to 0.3. okay, So that's the basic color for the chair. Then let's add the base material for the chair. So let's select the base material, and then let's go to the material tab and then add another material and rename to chair base. Okay, and then now for the chair base, we are going to give it a hue. We are going to leave the hue at 0 and the saturation, and we are going to change the value to 0.498. okay, and then for this we are going to increase the metallic to 1 because it's fully metallic. The base is metallic, and we'll change the roughness to 0.2. okay, so we are going to get a very shiny metallic material for our base. Okay, so let's see how it looks. And then Control B, and then you can view only that part. Okay, so as you can see, it's shining. It's a shiny metallic material. And again, you can press the Control numpad. You can press the numpad / key to isolate the view. Okay, so let's look at it in the rendered mode. Let's select the base. Let's select the chair base. Let's add the material, the same material for the tire holder, or let's say the wheel holder. Is part of the base, so it all has the same metallic material. Okay, so as you can see, so we are going to add material to the tire. So in order to add the material to the tire, it has the same object as the base. So go to the edit mode, hover on the material and the tire and press L to select, and then click on the plus to add another material and then assign. So let's go to the rendered and then check the scene world in order to give us the lighting. Okay, this is not the final lighting, but it's just giving us a view. And then let's go to the render tab and then check transparent under the film. Okay, so now we can see our materials very clearly. Okay, so let's add the material for the tires. And for the tires, we are going to change the base color. We are going to leave the hue and the saturation, and then change the value to 0.1. We are going to change 0.179. okay, so we're going to give us a darker color, and you can also change the roughness to 0.4. okay, and then you can press let's go back to the object mode, and then press the numpad / key to come back to our global view. Okay, so let's now texture the picture frame over here. Okay, let's select it, and then click on the new to add a new material, and we can rename it picture frame. Okay, and then for the picture frame, we are going to change the hue to 0.087, and then we are going to change the saturation also to 0.751, and we are going to change the value to 0.466. okay, these figures are purely they are just personal, so you can use your own colors if you want, but it closely matches our reference that we are using. So now we are going to change the material for the picture itself. So let's go into edit mode, select the middle face, go to the material and press the plus sign and click on assign to change the material for it. Okay, so in order to assign the same material for our next frame, let's select the other one without the material first, and then the last one with the material, and then press Ctrl L to link materials, and then click on link material. So it's going to copy the material from the original. Then for the picture, let's go to the edit mode and then click on assign for the next material. Okay, so that's it for our picture frame, simple material. And then the next one, we are going to add material for the text. we're going to add material for the desk. Before we do that, let's just add this same chair material to our drawers. We're going to add the chair material to our drawers, but we're going to change the handles to the black color. So let's hover on it, press L and select our handles. As you can see, go to the material, press on plus and assign, and then click on new to add a new material. So for the black material, we are just going to leave the hue and saturation at 0 and change the value to 0.074. Okay, so we are going to get a black material. Okay, and the roughness we change it to 0.3. So that's it for the material. Very simple. And then now let's rename it. You can rename it to black or anything. Okay, so now let's texture our glass over here, or I don't know, the mirror. So let's add a material to it, and then we are going to change the material. We are going to change the base color. We change the hue to 0.25. Okay, and then we'll change the saturation to 0.2. And the value to 0. And we are going to change the value. Okay, the value to 0.518. As I said, these are just personal from the training, from the practice that I was doing, so it closely matches our reference. And let's change the roughness to 0.4. Okay, so that's it for the main material. That's it for the base material. Okay, for our color, let's change I'm going to change the saturation to 0.02, not 0.2. Okay, so this is the color that we are looking for, dark color. Okay, that's the color you need. So now this is the color for the glass. So let's add the color for the mirror. The glass is different from the mirror, so let's choose the 4 faces inside, and then assign a new material to it, and then let's select the same glass material. So we are going to change just a bit on it, and let's click the number beside it to make it a new material on its own, so that we can change it without affecting the glass, and then rename it to mirror. And then for that one, we can change the hue. We can change the hue to 0.156. Okay, and then we can change the saturation to 0.071, and then the value, can change the value to 0.413. Okay, so that's going to give it a much darker color. Let's change the roughness to 0.3, make it more reflective, a bit more reflective. Okay, okay, let's do 0.2 so that we get more of the reflection. Okay, so that's the basic color for our mirror material. So it's going to be a bit reflective if you add the light. Okay, so now we are going to add the texture for our desk material and our shelves. So before we do that, let's add the material for our curtains. So the material for the curtains is also simple. Let's change the hue to 0.025, and then let's change the saturation to 0.118, and then change the value to 0.568. Okay, so we are going to get a darker color for our curtain. Okay, so that's it for our curtain. You can also change the roughness to 0.4. Okay, so that's it for our curtain. And then now we can save our work. Always remember to save your work, don't forget. Okay, so now let's add the texture for our decks in our shelves. Okay, so select the decks. So to add a material for this, we are going to add an image texture. So let's divide this window into two. Then let's change it to the UV editor, the UV image editor. Okay, so that we can unwrap our model. So let's select the table, then tap into edit mode, press E to select everything, and then while you selected everything, let's unwrap by pressing U, and then select smart UV project, and then you can change it to 0.02, and then okay. So as you can see, we've unwrapped our decks. So it's basic unwrapping. So let's add our texture, our image texture. So to do this, we already have a material, so let's rename the material decks. Okay, and then let's add an image texture node. So shift A to add an image texture, go to texture, add image texture. Okay, and then go to open, and we have an image texture here. Is an image texture from textures.com, so you can navigate to where you have any wooden texture, and then add your image texture to it. And in order to view what you are seeing in our viewport, let's go scroll to this side and then change our view to texture, so you can see the texture on it. Okay, so we selected the wrong texture, so let's change it to the base color. Okay, so now you can see the kind of texture we are giving our table, our decks. Okay, so before you see it in the rendered mode, you have to connect it. So before that, let's duplicate it 2 times, then position it well. Let's adjust our nodes well for the connection. Okay, so let's come to the second one, and then let's change it to the roughness, then the third one to the normal. Okay, so with this, let's add the base color for our decks. So we are going to connect other nodes to it, so we are spacing it out. So let's connect it to the base color. Okay, so as you can see in the rendered mode, we have our texture in the rendered mode. It looks darker here. So with the reference image, let's look at the reference image. So you can see that with the reference image is brighter, the color is much more brighter, but it's looking more dark over here. So to do that, you have to add the color node, the RGB curves. Let's go to color, add the RGB curves. Okay, and you can pull this node up a bit to increase the brightness. Let's pull it up a bit for the overall brightness. So let's be with a numpad //key to isolate it, and then you can look at it in the rendered mode, and you can see a better view of what we have here. Okay, so let's increase the brightness a bit, and let's go to the red channel and then pull it up just a bit, and then let's change the green channel. We increase that one to a bit, then go to the blue channel and then pull it down just a bit. We don't overdo it because it's going to be outrageous. Okay, so let's adjust, and we are going to add another node. Go to color again, and then add the hue saturation value node, and then add it after the RGB curves. We are going to change the saturation and the value. So for the saturation, let's put in 1.1. okay, and then the value, we are going to change it to 1.5. okay, so that's all we really need for the base color. You can see that it's now brightening a bit and it's closely matching our reference. Let's select our image texture node and then press Ctrl T to bring up the mapping node. And before you can do this, you have to enable an add-on called Node Wrangler. So go to preferences and go to add-ons and check for Node Wrangler. So this is already integrated with Blender. Let's make sure it's checked, and then save preferences, and then anytime you select and press Ctrl T, you are going to get the mapping node. So let's change the scale to 6. the scale of our texture to 6, and we are going to closely get a much more real world texture. So now you can go back to our and just press the numpad / key. Okay, before you do that, let's do the texturing for our roughness. So for the roughness, we are going to add one node. We are going to add one node. So hold down, in order to view the roughness texture, just hold down your control and shift, and then press on there, and then just left click on your image or on your image texture to view it, and then let's press shift A to add a color ramp in the middle, and then let's lighten up the dark color a bit to make it a bit more rough, not too shiny, not too glossy. Okay, so let's lighten the black a bit, and you can adjust it how you want it. Okay, so let's connect the color to the roughness. Okay, and we are going to get a glossy material for our decks, and for the normal, let's view it, and then let's add a bump node. So go to vector and add bump and input, and then for the, let's put it in the height. Okay, so now we can see our bump node affecting our object. Let's change it to non-color. Okay, so you can see that the bump node is affecting our image, our model. So this is the roughness, the real life texture that we have. So let's change that one to the roughness. So that one will give you a more grayscale image, a more bumpy surface, which is more realistic. And let's change the strength to 0.1 so that we not get too much of it. Okay, not get too much of our bumpiness. So we can go back to our base color view again. Let's go back to our normal view, control, just press the numpad /. We've forgotten to connect our normal map, so let's just connect it to the normal. Okay, so that's it for our decks texture. And then the easy thing we can do is just apply this texture to the floor, and to do that, just go into the edit mode, select the floor, add the texture and assign it to it, and then go to this place and select the decks texture. So as you can see in our rendered mode, we've assigned that same texture for our floor, and since it's already unwrapped, we want to get it perfect. So let's select the shelf, and then let's do the same process for it. Let's go and add the desk color, and then that's it for it. So we've added the table texture, the wood texture to our floor, the desk and the shelf. Okay, so now let's add another. So to do that, let's select the shelf, go to edit mode, and then select this edge, shift S, and then cursor to selected, and then we are going to add the area light over here. So select the area light, and then move it forward a bit in the Y axis, press G and Y, move it in the Y axis a bit. Okay, and then come to the forward, and then scale it on the X axis to match the scale of our shelf. Okay, as you can see. Okay, and then let's move it down a bit, press G, and then move it on the Z axis just a bit. Okay, we are going to move it down a bit. Okay, move it down a bit. Okay, so, and let's change the strength of our color to 200 or 300. Okay, so as you can see, our light is brightening over here. So we can also change the color. So for the color, let's change the hue to 0.113, and then the saturation to 0. Let's change the saturation to 0.342, and then we are going to change the value to 1. We are going to leave the value at 1, so it's going to give us this yellowish color. Okay, so now for the other light under the shelf, we are just going to duplicate this light over here. Just before we do that, let's select the shelf, this shelf over here, go to the edit mode and then select the edge underneath, and then shift S to cursor to selected, and then shift D to duplicate this light. Let's duplicate this light. After duplicate, press shift S and then selection to cursor, and we are going to have our light over there, and then alt S to undo the scale. Let's move it forward a bit in the Y axis and then scale it according to the scale of our shelf, the length of our shelf. Okay, then we are going to move it down a bit in the Z axis. Okay, so we now have our light under the shelf, and let's change the power it's too bright, so let's change it to 50. Okay, so 50 is okay for this other shelf. Then you can duplicate this same light, shift D to duplicate, and then move it down on the Z axis, and then place it underneath the other shelf. Okay, so that's it for our lighting and our texturing. So we have the basic material and the basic lighting. Always don't forget to save your work so you don't lose your work. Okay, so for the last one, we forgot the frame. Let's add a white texture to the frame. So go to the edit mode and select the frame. So as you can see, the color over here is white, off white. So we are going to add another texture and assign it to the frame material, and then go to the chair material. So the chair is white, so we just apply the same material to it, and that's all to it. That's our basic color for the frame. Okay, so as you can see now, our room is lit. So now let's go to the render settings, and then you can set up your render. You can change the render samples to 200 or any other number you want. So let's change the light part, the total to 4, and then uncheck the reflective and refractive. Okay, so that's all for our render settings, and you can leave any other thing else like that. So in order to render, let's just save our work first, and then we are going to press F12 for render. Okay, so the only thing we have to do is to wait for our image to render. Okay, okay, so that's it for this tutorial, and I hope you learned something from this tutorial. Okay, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more interesting Blender stuff, and hit the like button to feed the algorithm and help this channel grow. Catch you in the next one.